Welcome back to Keystone and More, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. It's time for a midweek video. Nick and I are both free. A lot of stuff to talk about. We don't have a set schedule. We'll probably go by
Oh yeah,
ear.
and we're free and it's Valentine's Day. Not a good sign.
Yeah,
I already did something with someone, but not important. Get to the next part of the
yeah. I
video.
have done nothing because I have no one. But anyways, we are going to go by ear just for the biggest sports news that we've seen. We'll start off at what you see on the screen. Penguins Flyers controversial game on Monday night as the good guys Penguins came out with a 3-1 win. Maybe it was 4-1. I don't remember. No, 4. I think it was 4-1.
Four to
It
one, yeah.
late in the game, we had Evgeny Malkin swing his stick at a Flyer player. Got suspended. He got ejected from that game. Nick, what was your first thoughts about that?
So I'm watching this game and I'm kind of thinking to myself, that Flyers could have played better. They played a very good. They played a good game, right? And 28 shots in the second period is amazing. But Matt Murray also played on top of his head. I mean, no other goalie in the league is winning that game. You're playing almost any other team in the league in almost any other type of scenario, and you're probably winning that game. They just got, very unlucky in taking on the Penguins and one of the better goalies in the league. And that ended up happening, and the Penguins won. And so I thought that when Raffle pushed him, that Malkin would understand as a rivalry. So you push back, you fight him, drop the gloves, do something. There's 6 minutes to go, and you're up by three. No reason not, or up by two at the time. There's no reason not to just drop the gloves or just push around. Push around, get a little brawl going with a lot of guys. But instead, he decides to swing the stick. Now, this is a rivalry game. I understand that. Doesn't matter. That is a crazy thing to do considering, I mean, I guess he understands that he doesn't really get, anything. He doesn't really suspend it often. I don't know. I guess he understands the NHL doesn't give a shit what he does. But, I mean, still, that's just ridiculous that he would even, think about doing that, even if it is a rivalry game. I mean, you're up by two in the third period, man.
No, yeah, and I definitely agree with you. Sorry, coming out of a cold. I do agree with you. If you were watching the video, if you watched the highlights or anything like that, there was a pushing by him. Malcolm got punched in the head. That's no reason for you to swing a stick. Yes, as a Penguins fan, I do think that was way over the top. And I think a lot of Flyers fans are overreacting. It barely hit him, but just brushed up against his shoulder. But then again, yes, it shouldn't have happened. You should have gotten to a fight, like you said. Suspended one game. I think that's probably the right call. Maybe it could have been 3 games or 2 games, depending. Even if it was 3 games, like Nick, like you told me before, that could have definitely affected him as
Oh
with
yeah,
the Rangers
that's
game.
what I forgot to say about that. Yeah, I was thinking in my head it would probably be 3 games because the Penguins play the Rangers on in what would have been the third game of his suspension. He was only a 1 game suspension. That game was yesterday, and they beat the Oilers yesterday, so it didn't end up really affecting the team at all. But I thought it was gonna be 3 games because then he would have missed the 12:30 Sunday game versus the Rangers.
Hmm.
And he considering he is in quotation marks a first time offender, even though he has done so many things that him and Tom Wilson rank up there in dirtiest players in the league. But the point is that he definitely should have been suspended for 3 games. He would have missed the rivalry game, 12:30 on national television, like NBC national television, not NBC Sports, NBC, and that would have been a huge game for him to miss against a pretty big rival for the Penguins. I would assume behind the Flyers and the Capitals, it's right there, the Rangers in the three slots. So big game he would have missed there, and they decided to let him off easy, I guess. But
Yeah, it's probably his first time, and he's not even normally a dirty player. He's not a Tom Wilson who's going after blood all the time. Definitely, one game was good. They didn't, and to be honest, for that Flyers game, Matt Murray did play great. I think the whole Pittsburgh team played great, and that's a Pittsburgh team that we haven't seen as much of as of late.
yeah, and I honestly thought when they were losing 1-0 last night that it was kind of like, oh great, we were the only team that they can beat, and I was kind of thinking, okay, for whatever reason in this weird shit of a rivalry, the road team always wins. I don't remember the last team at home besides the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
I
no, I'll give
really
you that.
don't. I don't really remember the last time a home team won a game in this series. It was probably last year. I just don't remember.
No,
But in
actually,
but
no,
in
yeah, it
this
was because we went 4-0 against you guys in the
Yeah,
But it's
but
normally,
it's
yeah. It's what.
normally very road heavy. In December, the Flyers won 4-2. It's a very road heavy series, I've noticed, and but again, that's no reason for excuses. And the I thought, that was okay. That was, I get it. That was not a great look for Carter Hart on national television, especially after how good he's been playing and all the national recognitions he's been getting, and then for him to finally get that big game and to not really play that good. But to be fair, two of those goals were not really his fault. The last goal was an empty netter, so it's not even on him. That doesn't count. It's not his goal. Not his goal against. But the first goal, okay, the Crosby goal in the first period, that is somewhat of his fault. But at the same time, it's not all his fault, okay? Because so he's on the other side of the net, and Crosby gets this pass, and he's right in front of the net. It was probably the easiest goal of Crosby's career. I think if you ask him at the end of his career what was the easiest goal, it's gonna be like that Carter Hart goal that got us the second wild card in the 2019 playoffs.
Yep.
But but here's the thing: is that if you look at the replay, there was two defensemen on Crosby right when they were in the corner fighting for the puck. The puck gets thrown around the other side, and both the defensemen follow the guy going after the puck. The two defensemen went to go follow the puck, and neither of them went to go watch Crosby, who set himself right up in front of the net. And it should have been Provorov's job because Provorov followed, I believe Sanheim. So Provorov should have stayed with Crosby, gotten the puck back, not cleared it, but get it out of that zone and try to go down the other end, and that first goal doesn't happen. And also, somebody should have warned Carter Hart that the puck was on the other side of the ice now, and that he should get back over there and cover it. I don't think he even knew the puck was over. He had no idea. He had no idea that Crosby was over there and the puck was going over there.
That was
That's
my main thing for the game. That game right there is that goal was. I don't think it was much of no one covering Crosby. I think it's that there was no communication. That
Yeah, there was
because
absolutely no communication.
because he was looking, Carter Hart was looking the complete opposite direction until that puck went in and Crosby started celebrating, and he had no idea where that puck was. And that's up
Yeah,
to
he
the
had
defenseman
absolutely no idea.
to tell him where that puck is going to be.
Yeah, it's on the defenseman, and it's just a shame to see Carter Hart allow 3 goals in a national televised game, especially after all the praise he's been getting from
Hmm.
analysts around the league. But he has a chance to redeem himself this Sunday on national television versus Detroit. Hopefully, he takes advantage of that opportunity. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean every goalie cannot have every single good game, and this was just
Obviously, and this is
this.
that was the biggest game of his career. So I
Yeah,
wasn't expecting him to play his normal self like he's been playing against Vancouver. But I'm still expecting him, to have, a better game than that. That was the biggest and probably, sadly, the worst game of his career. But it's been a very short career of his, and I think he's going to turn that around quite fast.
and you gotta think that if the Flyers do go on to win the Stadium Series, that game against the game on Monday probably would not. They won't care.
I agree. I think that if you win the Stadium Series game, that's the bigger deal
Hmm.
because
Definitely.
it's outdoor, more viewers, 60,000 people. It's the Lincoln Financial is about 3 times the size. It's a little over 3 times the size of the Wells Fargo Center, and it's a sold out show. Um, Tickets that aren't on the so-called illegal ticket market, so tickets that aren't on StubHub and SeatGeek, tickets that have not been sold yet by the NHL. There's only about 2,000 remaining. So it's a sold out show. Already 58,000 tickets have been sold. So there's probably going to be at least 58,000 at that game on Saturday night because the NHL has yet to sell 2,000 of those seats. But
Hmm.
I'm assuming they will probably be sold come next Saturday night.
Yeah, especially by the by God, I can't. Sorry, I can't speak. I'm trying to do two things at once. It will be sold out at box office. I think that'll be the final place that you could buy a ticket going to the stadium. Because it's national television, something we've always wanted to see. Two Keystone rivals that just have gone at it for the past couple
Well, it's not
decades.
something we've always wanted to see because we've already seen it.
Yeah, but it's like, what rival would you like to see going at the biggest stage? And this is just what we want to see.
Agree.
I think it was a huge hype last year when we played you guys in the playoffs. I know it was pretty much one sided, but that hype to the first game of the playoffs.
Here's the only problem. Um, that they're playing this same series twice it doesn't make any sense. It's like the dumbest thing
What do you
I
mean?
have ever heard of. Okay, it's not that I have a problem with it because I guess, oh well, Philly gets a chance and Pittsburgh gets a chance. Like, okay, but here's what should have happened. They should have played in State College. They should have played in State College, Pennsylvania, right?
Hmm.
But apparently, like, well, first, the main reason, the actual reason was Penn State wanted more money, which is annoying, but it's true. But the fake reason that they had to say was that they're like, since the state at Beaver Stadium so old, like the plumbing would have been so bad because there would have been 100,000 people there in the winter, in the cold of winter.
Hmm.
So the plumbing with the toilets and all that. Problem, that's not the real reason. The NHL wasn't giving them enough money. This should have been one game at Beaver Stadium. It wasn't. Whatever, but
And there was going to be rumors that there was going to be at PNC Park, or it was going to be at Citizens Bank Park, but I like the decision
the
here.
only problem is those stadiums don't have the capacity.
Yeah, and it's
So
way too
this
small.
is these are way too big of games to be
Do you think?
some of the biggest stadium series games you're ever gonna see.
And I was talking to my friend. Do you think basketball should adopt the stadium series where they go outside for a game?
Um, no, I don't really think that makes much sense to be honest. I understand where you're coming from, but what I think basketball should do, or at least could do, is they should play the one-on-one tournament at All-Star Weekend. I think that would be a very good thing for the NBA to do.
Hmm.
I think an outdoor game like on a blacktop, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it would make sense, I guess, but I don't think it's ever arose to
Or
there.
just
People
something to shape up the NBA, because the NBA every single season it's boring. Not to offend any NBA players, but it's just boring because the same thing happens over and over again. There's nothing new. There's nothing to look forward to except the playoffs. And
Yeah, but you
still,
could make the same. Like you could arguably. Here's the thing: the NHL is almost overusing these outdoor games.
hmm
I mean, they're playing 2 or 3 a year, 4 a year sometimes, which is way too many outdoor games. This thing started off in 2008. Well, it started off in 2003, but the actual, when it got popular, 2008, Ralph Wilson Stadium, Sidney Crosby shootout goal, keep it on. Next big one was, I mean, the next year at Wrigley, it was big, wasn't that as big.
hmm
2010 at Fenway, it was big,
that was
not
big.
as big. 2011, Heinz Field, Capitals, Penguins, Capitals, freaking they destroyed Crosby.
Yep.
I remember they destroyed Crosby. Concussions out a year and a half. Everybody fucking loved that game. Capitals were adored because they destroyed Crosby. Everybody loved it. 2012, Rangers Flyers. It was pretty big, not as big as it could have been. The point is, these games are big, but then they started to oversaturate them. So in recent years, people are kind of like, I don't really care. I just want for my team to get it. So now Nashville and Dallas are getting their first one next year. That could be a
Well,
big deal. It's their first team. But when Pittsburgh and Philly and Washington and Chicago are playing in like 5 Winter Classics, that's ridiculous.
wait, these are the rivalry games that you like to see. Now, yes, I get it. It gets old, but now we should start using West Coast rivalries now, or maybe
We already have.
rivalries.
We've already used the West. There's not many West Coast rivalries around because there's not that many West Coast teams.
Yeah.
We've kind of used all the West Coast rivalries, but that's the problem. Like there's rivalry, but the NHL. Here's the problem with the NHL that the NBA just does so much better in rivalry creation. Like, okay, whoever thought the Thunder and the Sixers would be rivalry? The NBA would never. Not the NBA. The NHL would never have a team from Oklahoma City and Philadelphia be rivals.
Yep.
But the NBA has that thing with the players where the social media outtake and everything, and the advertising and the marketing of the players is just so much better. It's not even close. When's
Yep.
the last time you saw an NHL commercial on ESPN? I never have. You know why? Because they don't even have a TV contract with America's biggest sports supplier. They have it with NBCSN. Some people don't even have NBCSN.
hmm Yeah.
The
No.
point is, the NBA does a much better job with player marketing, and that's why I think if the NHL had player marketing, we'd have a lot more rivalry opportunities for these games.
Yep. Yeah. But you see these teams play, and especially in the NBA, they get boring after a while, just because you play a lot of teams a lot of different times, and you only play like those West Coast teams twice a year. So definitely, maybe not expanding the season, but making this so that you can play more of the West Coast teams more times than two.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is that you're cutting out those core rivalry games. See, I'm not against core rivalry. I just think you also need to create more rivals in the process.
Mhm.
You don't want to Here's the thing: if one year you're in the playoffs against Chicago, well, then Chicago is going to be your big rival, and they might be your big rival the next year. But then if once the season's over and you play, Nashville in the playoffs, now Nashville's your rival, and they'll be a rival for the next year too.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, remember San Francisco and Seattle? That's not really a rivalry anymore. But when they were going at it in the playoffs, that was a rivalry. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, rivalry. That's the NFL, but still.
Yeah. No, I see where you're going with that. No, and I definitely agree with you with that. It
And I'm not
just
saying Pittsburgh Baltimore is not a rivalry anymore, but it's definitely toned down since they've been
it's
basically in
more
the
of
playoffs.
a since it probably it's and this is also declined probably Cleveland and Cleveland not Cleveland sorry Cincinnati and Pittsburgh now.
Again, that was big when they were in the playoffs. So the thing, the NHL's playoff system is really set up so only rivalries can play each other. They need to go back, in my opinion, to the 8-1 system, the 1-8 system, the
Yeah, I
thing
like
the
that.
NBA does. It's so much of a better system. This whole thing with like the Metro teams play Metro teams,
I
and then
don't
they meet
like
in the
that.
Metro, and then they meet in the Metropolitan Finals, and the Metropolitan champion plays the Atlantic champion. Oh, and then the Eastern champion plays the Western champion. There's like 3 championship games. It's a joke. 3 championship rounds. It makes no sense. You need to go back to the 1-8 system where there's one conference final, one, big final, and it's over. Not a division final, then a conference final, then
Mhm.
the big final. I mean, that makes no sense.
Yep. Yeah. No. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. But yeah, I do not, and I agree with you. I do not like the way they set it up, where you have to play your own conference before you play the other ones, because then it just negates rivalries.
It pressures the core rivalries too much, where it makes the core rivalries bland.
Mhm.
I'm not okay. So this is somewhat of an example, even though I still would consider it a serious game. But if you know you're going to see Washington and Pittsburgh in the second round of the playoffs, why would you watch that regular season game if you weren't a Washington or Pittsburgh fan? Unless
Mhm.
it was a big reason, unless there was like something on the line. But
Yeah.
if it's just an October night, it's on NBCSN. Well, I could say I'm going to see those two teams play each other in May or late April.
Mhm.
Why would I watch them now when there's nothing on the line?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. You already know who's going to play each other in the second round because we've seen it 3 straight years.
Mhm.
It's the
And
system set up.
but the thing is turning. It used to be very Pittsburgh dominated. Now Washington's starting to turn the table a little bit. We'll see what happens this year. Um,
And the Islanders look insanely dominant. But
they do. Yes.
but one more thing I want to cover before we have to wrap it up is the big ace out of Philly, Aaron Nola, got his big time deal, 4 years, 45 million, which has a 2023 club option that can make the deal 56 million 5 years. Nola had his press conference today down there in Clearwater. All his teammates were there. Seems like he's liked by the team, as a lot of teammates and family were there. And he really said that he liked this organization. He liked that we were, he thought we were a winning organization. He loved the city. And he said that he's a great pitcher. He's 25 years old. He was 17-6 last year to 2.37 ERA, and he was third in the Cy Young voting behind Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer. And even without adding Harper or Machado, I think this is going to be a very good offseason for the Philadelphia Phillies. Adding Gene Segura, Andrew McCutchen, JT Realmuto, and re-signing and David Robertson, and now re-signing Aaron Nola. It's a very productive offseason for Matt Klentak. Um, but you know, Aaron Nola is very good. Very good at getting out left-handed hitters.
And
That's something you're. Oh, keep going.
sorry, just I think signing Aaron Nola is probably the biggest thing you did all season because he's gonna be Arrieta's on the downfall. He's not the pitcher he
Well,
used once
Arietta, I
was.
don't think Arieta's in the downfall, but he did have a torn cartilage for half the year last year, so that definitely didn't help him.
Yeah, but I don't. He's not the pitcher he once was. It could be towards the injury, but he's not like he was against the Cubs. Then when he was with the Cubs, and Aaron Nola's a young pitcher. He had a 2.37 ERA, ranked amongst the best starters in the MLB right now. And I think having this contract extension for 4 years definitely is going to help you because he could be your ace going forwards. And I really like what they did, signing for 4 years with a reasonable amount of money to keep this because he's going to be that leader in the rotation to
Yeah.
help go down stretches, win big games.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing: the Phillies they locked up those key people behind the plate and shortstop, two of your most important positions on the diamond. Two are your most three important. Center field's your third most important.
Hmm.
So they're pretty equal actually. But the point is, they got Gene Segura, they got JT Realmuto, some of the best catcher in baseball and one of the best shortstops in baseball, and they lock up their best young player. I think Rhys Hoskins is probably number two. I think Aaron Nola is better than Rhys Hoskins. Even though Rhys Hoskins is a phenomenal player, I'm wearing a Rhys Hoskins shirt right now. But I think that's if Bryce Harper and Manny Machado aren't in the market, that's a really good offseason. Like that's an insanely good offseason to lock up two of the best players in baseball, plus improve your bullpen, plus lock up your young player and get Andrew McCutchen, who is a very good veteran piece.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
And this helps you off, and this helps your outfield too, and your hitting core because McCutcheon's not done yet.
yeah, I agree.
Def, just a couple other baseball news. Doug Fister, CC Sabathia to retire. Joe Flacco moved to the Broncos. Duke overcame a 23-point lead to beat
Oh yeah,
Louisville.
that was something.
I didn't watch that game, but I heard it was something. Antonio Brown, more drama. He wants to trade, um, which I do not know how I feel about that. I need some time for that to sink in. These are just some of your quick news updates. The Melky Cabrera signed with the Pirates. That happened a little while ago. That's a huge pickup for us, helping our outfield. And he can convert probably to first base if he really wanted to.
That is how sad the Pirates organization has become.
We're
Melky
just
Cabrera is
spending
ended.
money a lot. It's something well, I'm happy that we're doing finally. Nothing, I'm sorry that I had that. Just looking up on the board. So I'm doing two things at once. But that's probably going to wrap it up. We just want to give you guys a quick midweek video on what's been happening um, within the world of sports. Obviously, the Flyers Penguins is the biggest one we wanted to talk about. Sunday, there's going to be more stuff to talk about. We're probably going to go through some quick baseball, focus it more on baseball, as pitchers and catchers reported yesterday. First workout was yesterday.
And
We'll
I think we plan on the Sunday, February 24th podcast, not really being a podcast, but being our
be
MLB preview
preview. Yep.
video.
Give you in-depth management of each team, each division. Who do we think will win the World Series, even though it's way too early. Sunday, when we talk about baseball, we'll probably give you our favorite players, past, present. Who do you think the best rotation is right now, best bullpen?
Yeah, we'll get all the ranking stuff right here, right now, right before spring training starts, and then right after spring training starts on Thursday, that Sunday, we will get our preview, our predictions out there, divisions, go in depth on all of these teams. Some of these teams that we don't talk about a lot, sadly, because both the Phillies and the Pirates are in the National League. We don't cover
The
those
AL
American League
as much.
teams quite often, even though we do cover them as much as we can. The prediction video gives us the opportunity to talk more about those American League teams.
Definitely, and I think the American League team now. I think the Astros are getting weaker. I think if the Astros get Harper, I think I'll be very. I don't think they will, but I think if they do,
That's not having high at all.
and, sorry, they should go after Harper, and I think it'd be a very wise move. You have Reddick, you have Harper, and you have someone else in the outfield. And that's going to help them with their hitting. I know Minute Maid Park is a pretty small park, especially going down right field with him as being a lefty. But we'll get into that on Sunday, and we'll see you guys later.